But before we do that, let's talk about Eden, who, from what I understand, is a trans person who was on Twitter. Trigger warning: suicide. This is I don't know how else to describe it. It's just like trigger warning: trans suicide and human trafficking. Basically, from what I understand, Eden Knight was a trans woman from Saudi Arabia living in America. This is from the Google Doc that they wrote, or like her friends wrote. She was tricked by financial support from fixers, allegedly hired by her parents, into moving back to Saudi Arabia and detransitioning. Eden was funny, sharp, well-read, and concerned with making the world a better place. She stood up for marginalized people and regularly critiqued the conservative, suffocating culture she left back home. On the morning of March 12th, 2023, Eden posted her suicide note on Twitter. In it, Eden laid out how she was manipulated into depending on people hired by her powerful parents to pose as friends, but whose actual goal was to force her to detransition and move back to Saudi Arabia. They succeeded. This morning of Monday, March 13th, 2023, Eden's family confirmed both her passing in Saudi Arabia and their identity. We are greatly disturbed by how she was treated. We believe that what happened to her was an unspeakable violation and there must be consequences. Justice must be served. Most likely not going to happen. In this document, we have laid out some of the pieces of evidence that we believe tell Eden's story and expose the ways she was failed and violated by her parents, by powerful American citizens willing to do anything for money, by a Saudi government official who poses a friend, and by the U.S. justice and immigration systems that should have been there for her asylum, to offer her asylum and safety. She deserved better in life, and she deserves better in death. Eden was also known as Celeria or Cyber Angel Fairy. Here's the tweet. The thing is, like, the trans community online is a very, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of people that duke it out nonstop. But ultimately, it's like one of the remaining spaces that people can utilize to talk to one another. So that's precisely what people do. So a lot of people knew of her from Twitter. Eden started her journey on Twitter, still living in the closet and hanging out with progressives and people who want to build a brighter, better world. Eden lived in the U.S. while she was attending school. During the global COVID pandemic, she came out as trans. Since then, she has been a light in the trans community. Everyone who speaks about her mentions her humor and her kindness. She possessed an inner strength that we admire and know deserves recognition. The note opens, again, trigger warning, suicide. Hi, if you're reading this, I've already killed myself. I have given life every opportunity. I've given myself every chance to get better, but I couldn't do it. I wasn't strong enough. I don't know if I should read all this. But there's an important part here, here. Sometime in the summer, I was contacted by Michael Pacalico, a cybersecurity guy, through an IRL friend who claimed he was a fixer and wanted to fix the issue that was between me and my parents. I thought this was impossible. I'm trans, and they are strict conservative Muslims, but I decided I would give it a shot because it can't hurt. Right? Lamau. You don't have to. We just want people to know who they are. Yeah, okay. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to read the important parts of this. At a certain point, I realized I was entirely dependent on Bader for food and shelter, and that if I ran away, he could have easily found my location, and since I was illegal, I would have just been deported to Saudi. I subconsciously gave up. I was too tired. I did everything he wanted. I cut my hair. I stopped taking estrogen. I changed my wardrobe. I met my dad. I wanted to be a leader for people like me, but that wasn't written to happen. I hope the world gets better for us. I hope our people get old. I hope we get to see our kids grow up to fight for us. I hope for trans rights worldwide. Name of the fixers mentioned were Michael Picalico, the cybersecurity guy, his associate Ellen Bader, who was a Saudi lawyer. There was another twit longer from Bailey, former roommate of Eden, where Bailey writes of Michael Picalico and Ellen Cole. She got in contact with Picalico and Cole through a real-life friend, claiming that they could help her with the situation and possibly even achieve immigration status. One thing that I find a little bit strange, however, was how repeatedly I asked Eden to ask them if I could also be in contact with them so that we were all on the same page as far as the plans went moving forward. This was very important to me, as I wanted to be sure that we clearly had a timeline of events and how things were going to work out, what the options really were, how we could achieve them, and if there was anything for my family I could also be doing to help. Although she didn't ask for my involvement, they outright refused to allow me to be involved. To clarify, Bader is a separate Saudi lawyer. Ellen is an associate at whatever firm with Michael Picalico. Fahad al-Shatri, her father background. We had a long description here, but about the evidence that we wouldn't publish publicly, but would share with journalists, that Dr. Fahad al-Shatri, deputy governor for the supervision of the Saudi Central Bank, was her father. However, that's no longer necessary, as her family announced online today about her passing and a service to honor her. It dead names and misgenders her, something we believe to be a callous continued violation. Anyway, background on Michael Picalico, who is the fixer, is an American man who worked through an IRL friend of Eden's to make contact with her, offering her help, saying he worked as a fixer and could make her situation with her disapproving parents better. Eden believed him and opened a line of communication with him. Michael convinced her to leave the trans-affirming home she was staying at and move back to the state he lived in and she previously had gone to school in. Through Michael, she met his associate Ellen and a Saudi lawyer named Bader. Michael has run as a Republican political candidate before. He has sat on the boards of pharmaceutical companies. He's tied to the investment banking and equity firms, JP Morgan, as well as the Heritage Foundation. Today, he is the CEO of a company called Special Investigations Limited, a business that claims they do cybersecurity investigations and have global reach. I mean, he is a fixer that they hired to basically kidnap, detransition, and then kidnap this, this trans woman and take her back to Saudi Arabia. That's the ultimate goal. I'm going to skip all of this stuff. Ellen Cole is the other one, who's an associate of Michael Picalico's. She met with Eden and Michael in Virginia. Ellen currently is the managing director and partner at a Spec Inv with Michael, and she previously worked as an office administrator and assistant to Michael in Monticello Capital, a boutique investment bank in Chantilly, Virginia, where she's the managing director. And Badr Bader Alomer is a Saudi national who met Eden at the train station in Virginia along with Michael and Ellen. He told Eden he was a lawyer and got her an apartment in Washington, D.C. He began to take care of her financially, and over time she realized he was grooming her into detransitioning plus living in the closet, and she was now an illegal immigrant who was financially dependent on him. Feeling she had no choice, she was acquiesced into his demands and changed her physical appearance along with discontinuing her hormone therapy. Thank you, AB Star Killer, for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. We are currently talking about some acquiesced. Sorry. Right. We're talking about a trans woman's suicide note. So this is some really complicated stuff. Okay. So yeah, trigger warning for you. At this point, Michael and Ellen had ceased all communication with her. She had an emotional breakdown and repented as she was asked to. Bader then booked her a flight back to Saudi Arabia. There was little information provided on Bader past his actions, but we have managed to find a man whose name and activities match this Bader's, also living and working in D.C., a point of contact man working for the Saudi embassy who was in charge of flights, transportation, and living arrangements. I don't know if I should show this part of it because this seems like, this isn't as like super credible. I don't know if this is the same person, so I don't want to go too far into the details of that part. No disrespect to Merrick and others who put this together. I think it's this part is mostly for journalists to, as she's posing this. We included that for journalists to look into. Yes. Journalists should probably do a deeper dive into this and investigate it. But I don't want to talk about it like it's 100% confirmed. But basically, 3 people were involved in this process, and the family seems to have hired these 3 people to, forcibly or groom Eden into detransitioning. That led to her ultimately, committing suicide. Are you not, lol? I mean, 1, no, of course I'm not an investigative reporter. Are you new here? And 2, do you think investigative reporters do investigative reporting in front of 32,000 people? Like in front of a fucking auditorium? Can they be charged? No. I don't think that they will be charged, not only because this is like a powerful Saudi family that we're talking about, an important ally to the United States, which routinely does stuff like this, not just for, trans individuals, but for cis individuals as well, men, women, and the like, with basically supervision and maybe even in some instances assistance from tech companies, the American State Department, and the like. When you are a Saudi national, you are under the direct supervision of the Saudi government, considering that the United States is a very important ally to Saudi. They kind of get away with a lot of stuff. If you recall, I mean, they're currently actively doing war crimes in Yemen, a genocide in Yemen with United States weapons. They have, they literally killed a legal permanent resident by the name of Jamal Khashoggi very publicly in an Istanbul embassy and pretty much got away with it. 9/11 was a whole other thing. So, they already have an awesome amount of power. So there's that. But also on top of that, this is a trans person, which, that makes it additionally less likely that there would be any kind of help. I mean, they don't even help cis people. You know what I mean? But the reason why this story is important, I think, is because ultimately, gender affirmation is profoundly important in cutting the very high suicide rate within the trans community. There are so many studies that prove to this reality. I mean, that point to this reality, that prove what trans people say all the time. And this kind of like grooming and creating like financial dependence for someone, forcibly trying to or coercing them into detransitioning, is murder. The longer way to do it, but that is what it is. What Eli Ehrlich says. This is human trafficking. Conservative business fixers trafficked a young trans woman and she ended up dead. Eden's story should remind us of how horrific the landscape of anti-trans fundamentalism reaches across borders, religions, and ideologies. Eden deserves so much more. Yeah. So, yeah. But if you would like to see the document for yourself, here it is. Here's the preview link. In any other circumstance, if you were to force someone to do something that led to their suicide, that if you coerce someone into committing suicide, that would be considered, murder, manslaughter. So, but when it's a trans person, people don't feel like that's the case. So, yeah. There it is. How the fuck do you justify this? Like, do you sleep at night knowing you did this? Conservatives are crazy, but I can't just imagine a single way they could mental gymnastics this one. Yes, dude, they don't give a shit. What do you mean? What? No. Trans people have been dehumanized so effectively through mainstream media that, like, people don't think about it. It's like asking, how the fuck do slavers enslave black people? No, they don't give a fuck. It's just like, it's not a human, okay? There's literally not a human being in their mind, because if they, for a brief moment, stepped back and thought about it on such terms, then their conscience would kick in. That's why dehumanization, and that's why, dude, this guy goes, how about the Arab slave trade? Yeah, sure, that too, okay? Jesus Christ, you fucking petulant little white child, immediately. Oh my Lord. Sure, all slavery, okay? You got it, Papa Fury? Are you happy? Like, I can't bring up a single goddamn point without these motherfuckers being like, what about this? Gotcha. Like, you don't even know what my perspective is, okay? Ha ha ha, peace, Hasan. You will never find peace in your life because you have so much hatred in your heart that you have to literally spread it to every single person. If you want true peace, then stop behaving like this fucking psychopath, okay? You're not Patrick Bateman. You might find yourself to be this like sociopathic, sexy, confident, charismatic murderer because you misunderstood the main point that was in American Psycho. But you are not him, okay? You are not the one. You are not that guy. You are a pathetic, neck-bearded man baby who is really sad because he's very, very fucking lonely. You know what I mean? And you can change your life. You can change your life, but the first step is to basically leave the communities that reinforces you into this cycle of hate where you think that, this is a brief moment of solace in otherwise a painful existence. Do you get it? Like, you did not defeat your interlocutors. You are not winning debates. You are just a sad person who's just trying to fucking, spread sadness that you feel every single fucking day. I love how the Western colonial rule through economic imperialism is the reason the Saudi government is even alive. Yeah. This goes for a lot of the hate watchers. I know a lot of you motherfuckers are in here. Okay? I know. I know you're going to get mad at me, but when queer people in your chat shit on religion, this is why. In any other situation, you can apply their blowing off steam logic. Why not here? What? You see, in the United States of America, one of the more secular nations on the fucking planet, anti-trans legislation passing through every facet of existence. You see an otherwise secular liberal media deny trans people of their fucking humanity. And you turn around and you point to Saudi Arabian Wahhabist fundamentalism, which was planted by the British and the American government, and say, this is how religion exists. This is the reason why it's religion. Religion is just a justification for the cruelty. Religion is just another way to fucking extend the same oppressive constructs. It's just a more recognizable way to just sedate the masses, you fucking dumbass. The fuck are you talking about? What do you mean they're just blowing off steam logic? Is the United Kingdom's behavior towards trans people because they are so fundamentalist Christian? Is that why you think Turf Island is like that? Or do you think they use trans people as a cudgel, as a way to deflect away from the real problems that they experience under a capitalist organization of the economy? And they have been made out to be the most effective villains because they are the most marginalized. We're not even looking for strong villains any longer. We're looking for weak ones because we ourselves are weak. You said secular USA, though? Holy shit, I'm cackling. Because religion is not the main reason why people go through with this. Please don't be duped into this dumb shit. Okay? Come on. You're supposed to be fucking leftist, dude. Where is this coming from? It's so dumb. You are mistaking conservatism for one ideological justification. Come on, you're purposely misunderstanding. I'm not talking about that specifically. I agree. I'm saying that applies for all oppression. What? They're just blowing off steam logic? Wait, what are you saying? You're saying when you just want queer people to have a carte blanche fuck religion approach, and you're failing to misunderstand where I'm coming from when I say that there are still fundamentally more oppressive people within those countries that you would consider to be backwards and barbaric, utilizing orientalizing tropes, utilizing dehumanizing language against those you have declared your enemy just for the simple act of believing in something that's different than what you believe in, okay? If you come in here and say in the moment of a trans person being executed, okay, basically, by Americans at the behest of her Saudi family, and go, why can't we just like fight fire with fire by just shitting on an entire fucking religion? It's so stupid. No, man, I'm saying it's understandable to have a reflexive anger towards religion being Christianity or anything else. No, I get it. But like, it still doesn't change the reality that like that is the very same justification as to how people get away with, century of imperialism, colonialism, and continued destabilization of Muslim nations. So no, I'm not going to fucking sit here and justify that. It's so stupid. Come on, man. Let's just say a little bit of Islamophobia when this story has pretty much nothing to do with fucking Islam in general and everything to do with fundamentalist conservatism. Okay? Yeah, her family did this to her because they are conservative, not because they're Muslim. Can y'all stop, please? Exactly. You are so hyper-focusing on a certain aspect of this story that you're literally trying to find justifications for Islamophobia in this situation and others like that, where you are doing the bidding of oppressors without even realizing it because they don't want you to think that this is for some other reason, okay? They want you to think this is because it's Islam. And if I wanted to, be the fashionable, fun, popular commentator, I'd let you get away with that. Or if I wanted to be the fashionable, fun commentator, I wouldn't even talk about this issue at all. I would stay away from it because nobody gives a fuck about trans people, and trans people have no protections in mainstream media even, and certainly no protections in the American state legislature apparatus, as we have seen time and time again. But, it's the very same principle behind why I won't let you get away with saying some dumb shit like that. Conservatism is conservatism across the board. You can have religious conservatism, you can have fundamentalism, but ultimately it's still conservatism. Why do Twitch streamers have so much drama? People actually spend time supporting and donating these people. Some of the most immature people I've ever had the displeasure of watching. Well, there's a lot of good that comes out of this community as well. And it's entertainment. But it's like super parasocial entertainment. So that's how it works.